right now, because I truly believe every single one of you are leaders, but I also believe that there are different conversations to be had at different levels. And so the regional directors and above, you guys are gonna love this because you're gonna relate. But every single one of you that are brand new, if you're brand new today and you hopped on a leadership call, you're gonna be able to get a lot out of this. It's gonna take you to the next level in your business. Now, before I jump into that, for those of you that don't know me, I had a job. I was working 80 to 90 hours a week at my job. I was averaging 50 to 60 flights a year. I really didn't have a lot of time for myself or my family. But good fortune came my way when I was introduced to this opportunity. And here's what happened. I built it very, very spare time around my schedule, but I was consistent. And that consistency, building its spare time, enabled me to make a decision to step away from my job that I was working as an engineer to come home to my daughter. That was my choice. And the reason why I was able to choose that is because there was a system in place that allowed me to build a business, even though I was crazy busy. And fast forward, that was my daughter was 6 months old. She's a teenager now. I've been able to be home the whole time. I've never had a job since, and I owe it all to the training and support that we get here with this company. So I'm gonna get right into this. So are you guys excited? I'm looking through the gallery. Some of you don't look excited. So I need you, like Mr. Thomas said, to tell your face so that I can know, because you're on mute. I can only see you. So I need to see through your facial expressions. That's okay. Okay, I get it. I see smiles now. Good. Hey, and do this for a second. I know this is going to seem really weird, but for 3 seconds, I wasn't going to do 5, 3 seconds. Give me the biggest smile that you can. Now, wait, I'm going to tell you something. It's going to look ugly. It's going to look ugly. But give me the biggest Cheshire cat smile that you can give me just for 3 seconds, starting now. Natasha, I don't see you. All right, I see you now. All right, so here's what I found, that science is proven you just doing that, it just put your dopamine levels up. So you have more energy already. So we're going to get right into this. So now if you take a look at these slides that I'm going to be talking to you about, these come straight from Mr. Greg Provenzano and Mr. Tony Kupis. So the first thing I want to mention to all of you is this. What you receive will not be based on our preparation, but it'll be based on your expectation. Okay. So as I go through this, understand whatever you decide to, whatever you expect is what you're going to receive. It doesn't matter how great the training is. Every single one of you are going to see it in a different way, but it's based on your expectation. Knowing that this is coming straight from the co-founders, I would recommend having a high expectation to be able to get results. So here's what I want to do. I want to ask you guys to participate in a little game with me. Okay. So I'm going to bring up a slide, and in it, you're going to see a series of numbers. Matter of fact, I'll show you real quick. You guys see that? Okay, it's gone. So let me get back. Hold on. So what I want to do is I'm going to bring those numbers up. And I know some of you love a challenge. So I'm going to bring those numbers up. If you've done this with me already, do not pretend like you're a genius and try to post some crazy number. Don't even respond. And I know who you are, so don't do it. But what I want to do is I'm going to bring up a puzzle, and there are numbers on the puzzle. And I want you to count from number 1 to number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and see how far you can get. They're all mixed up, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Now remember, I'm gonna ask you guys to post in the chat when we finish. But if you've already done this, do not post. Do you guys got the instructions? All right, so I'm gonna give them to you, and we're gonna have 30 seconds on the clock. All right, you guys ready? Starting now. Natasha, leave him alone. 8 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, time. Now here's what I need you to do. I need you to put in the chat, or you know what, don't even do it. Just keep your number to yourself. Keep your number to yourself. Now, here's what I want to tell you. What if I told you that in that particular slide, those numbers weren't at random, and there was actually a pattern? See, some of you may even realize that there was a pattern. But see, that's exactly how a lot of us get involved with ACN. We know it makes sense. We know we can acquire customers. We know people can save money, and we know we can get paid on bills. But it's random to us. When you're brand new, everything seems random. It's like, why, if I'm focused on customers, why am I telling all these people about an opportunity? I don't get it. And because there's no rhyme or reason, it's not because there isn't any, it's just because you don't know the pattern yet, because there's a system in place. Now I'm gonna show you guys the pattern, okay? So if you take a look at this slide again, here's the pattern. If you notice, what you're gonna see is start out to the left and go to the right. And here's what you see. Look at number 1 all the way to the left. You guys got it? All right, and then number 2 is in the middle. And then number 3 is to the right. And then go all the way back like a typewriter. Go all the way back to number 4 on the left. You see that? Then where's number 5? In the middle. And then number 6. And then all the way back to number 7 on the what? Left. 8 in the middle, 9. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the slide again. And here's what I want all of you to do. I want you to try, now that you see and know the system. Now that you know the pattern, I'm going to give you 30 seconds again. And I want you to fly through it and see how many that you can get. You guys ready? All right. On your mark, get set. Go. Five more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and stop. Now, here's the question I want to ask all of you. By a show of hands, how many of you, by show of hands, are able to do twice as many or more knowing the system? See, that's exactly what ACN is when you know the system, you can fly. You didn't have to be skilled on that, did you? No. You didn't have to become an exquisite speaker, did you? No, none of that. All you needed to know is a system, and you started to do what? Work. You went through and found it, okay? So that's what I want to talk to you about, because ACN is exactly like that. My mentor taught me a long time ago, when you know the combination to the lock must open. It doesn't matter who puts in the combination. If the person that puts in the combination has the right combination, the lock will open. How about every single time? And that is exactly what we have here with this business. So with that being said, you want to persist without exception with the proper posture. Okay. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. And you want to make sure to identify any counterproductive habits, thoughts, or influences and dump them. You might want to write that down or take a screenshot, because here's what I know. Every single one of you have what it takes to go regional director. 100% of you have what it takes. But the things that are holding us back are the counterproductive habits, thoughts, and influences. They might be watching Netflix all the time. That's a counterproductive influence. That's a habit. The thoughts are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself positive thoughts, or are you only focusing on where you're making mistakes? See, you want to make sure to be aware of these things, because when you eliminate them, That's like letting go of baggage and giving you the ability to go out and have success. So ask yourself this question: what this will you miss if you hold on to that? See, because a lot of you are missing out on huge opportunity, missing out on freedom, but the only reason why you're missing out on it is because something silly is anchoring you to where you are right now. And if you were to just let go of that thing, you would be able to gain everything that you want in this business. And then the next step is you want to identify your compelling reason why. And why I say compelling is because it can't be superficial. Any of you have heard me train on me identifying my reason why? Know that when my mentor first asked me about it, I thought it was silly. I actually thought it was mushy. So I didn't want to go through the whole game of identifying a reason. The way I thought was just show me what I need to do and I'll go do it. But the reality is, if your reason why doesn't make you cry, all of you have heard this before, it's not big enough. But here's the real thing. Not only is it not big enough, if your reason why doesn't make you cry, you're not going to go past the uncomfortable parts. You're not going to go and do the things when you don't feel like working. So you want to make sure that the why is stronger than, write this down, why is stronger than your biggest excuse. See, if your reason why is not bigger than your biggest excuse, your excuse always trip you up. And then understand, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. Bottom line. And so you have to make a decision. Are you going to sacrifice for what you want, or are you going to assassinate your dream? Are you going to sacrifice what's important to you and what's coming to you? Your reason why will drive you to do the how. Your reason why needs to drive you to do. Your reason why will guarantee you to persist without exception. And see, that's the thing. See, I had a leadership training last night with my team, and we talked about discipline. 1% of success comes from motivation. 1%. 99% comes from self-discipline. And the only thing that will get you past that first initial step is to have a strong enough reason. That's what's going to allow you to persist without exception. You have to be non-negotiable in your belief system. And sometimes we say, well, I don't believe in myself right now because I'm new. It's not about yourself. It's about believing in the system, believing in your upline, having confidence in the results that you're going to get by holding on to people that have done it before you so that you can step into generating results yourself. And note, it's not what you say to everybody else that determines your life. It's what you whisper to yourself every day that has the greatest power. So like I mentioned before in the training, where I said, how do you speak to yourself? What is your self-talk like? Think about yourself as your daughter or your son, and ask yourself, if you spoke to your daughter or your son the way you talk to yourself in your mind, would you get locked up for abuse? See, I believe a lot of us would. Because the crazy things that we tell ourselves in our minds, we would never say to our kids. And so you got to start being aware of how you speak to yourself. Speak power to yourself by speaking positivity and affirmations, not doubting where you're at. Because I truly believe that you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, because you're not given things that you can't handle. And ACN is definitely something that every single one of you can. Know this, sometimes experience can cloud your vision. I remember joining ACN, and I had a breakout business where I built this business really fast. And I'll never forget, I was so excited. I got the fast start bonus. And then one of my sideline people, he wasn't even my upline, he said, oh my gosh, you got the bonus? Nobody in my team got the bonus. And I looked at him like, what? And then all of a sudden that changed things for me. And I thought I did something special. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? So many times You don't realize when you're new that your negative conversation based on your experience is tainting someone else's reality. I'm going to say that again. Your negative conversation that you say out loud is tainting other people's realities. If it was hard for you and you say ACN is hard because that's your experience, you're projecting that on people and you're projecting that into your future. I hope you guys are catching this. So you want to make sure to understand your experience can cloud your vision. Your reality is based on your belief system, not based on your experience. So you want to let that go and be new today. With everything you're going to learn, you're going to be able to build ACN with rapid fire. People get so comfortable with their dysfunction, it no longer looks dysfunctional. And I want you to understand the simple way to see is how many of you, and be honest, we used to build this business in people's homes. We used to have home meetings. I am so glad that I'm in my own home and not somebody else's home. How many of you have ever, and be honest with me, we're all family. How many of you have ever, you rang the doorbell, you're going to someone's home, they open the door, and before they can greet you, the smell greets you. I'm talking about the smell in their house. And you know you smell something funky, but you're trying to be respectful, so you're not saying anything. And then you're scared to death because you look at your watch and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be for an hour. And you're nervous because you know in a little while, you'll start to get what? Used to it. It's just like dysfunction. They don't smell anything because they live in the funk. They're used to their funk. See, you don't want to get used to the funk. Make sure, don't get comfortable with dysfunction because you got to see it for what it is. It's not a part of you. Greatness is a part of you. Every single one of you were born with the seed of it. So you got to be aware of that and make sure to move on. And then know we can't fix the economy, but we can fix their economy. See, it's all based on, like I've heard before, not what's going on in the White House, but what's going on in your house. Because see, at 40 years old, here's what I can share with all of you. I've been around for a few different administrations, and I haven't had, I don't care whether it's Democrat or Republican. If I was focused on my house was good. And so realize that we're going to help people one person at a time, and that everything starts at RVP. So everything that we're doing up until that point is preparation for RVP, but everything starts at RVP. So if everything starts there, my question to you is, how fast are you willing to get to regional director so that you can be on the road to RVP and start living your life in a different manner? How many of you want to go RVP? Well, the number one responsibility of leaders is to find other leaders. That is the number one responsibility. Some people think, well, it's customer gathering. It's recruiting. No, the number one responsibility is identify other leaders. So the only way you can identify leaders, here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen, is the law of large numbers. Is to talk to more people faster. We mentioned it last night with Mr. Thomas. It's to talk to more people faster. So you're either going to evangelize your opportunity or you're going to wind up fossilizing. You're either going to grow or you're going to die. And if you don't understand that first, then it's going to be difficult in building your business. Know that everything you do must work 10 levels below you. So that means it has to be simple. And a lot of times when I was brand new, things looked so complicated. I saw eloquent speakers. I saw people that were good at 7, 10, 20 different closes. Are you guys feeling what I'm saying? And I said, I got to learn all this. I had a strong reason. I was willing to learn it, but I was uncomfortable teaching it because I didn't want my people to feel icky the same way I did. Does everyone? And I'm just being completely transparent to all of you. And so if your organization is only under your nose, you're doing something that can't duplicate. So the question is, here's what a new person is thinking, and you want to take a screenshot of this. New person, you want them to say this: yes, I can do what you're doing. I have the time to do what you're doing. I would be willing to do what you're doing to me, to my friends, my family, and my acquaintances. See, here's what I know about myself, and I know this about other leaders. Involved, hey, it doesn't matter how we got involved. It doesn't matter who signed you up. It doesn't matter if you like your upline, your sideline, whatever. We all got involved. We're in. We have a blessing of an opportunity. But I personally remember I was willing to do ACN, but I didn't like what was being done to me. And you know what that meant? When my mentor asked me for a list, I only gave him like 3 people I was okay with him messing up. I hope you caught that. I was like, yeah, here, practice on these people. I don't care. But the majority of my list, I protected. And if you ever wonder why people don't want to give you your list, it's because they don't want you to do to their people what you're doing to them. So you got to ask yourself, my new person, I'm a new person. Would I be willing to do this to my friends, family, and acquaintances? And if that's not the case, you want to tweak it. And so when you're able to find a way to do that, here's what it allows you to do. It allows you to duplicate yourself without being present. It's going to build. How many of you would want a business that builds depth without being present? How many of you would love a business that work in distance without being present? So we're going to be talking about that. The first way to do that is to create a winning environment. Mr. Al Thomas has already done that with the organization. You have a winning environment. So you have an opportunity to plug into that. The next thing, it depends on you. And this is really important. Strong work ethic. There's no replacement. I'm going to repeat that. There's no replacement. The only way you can get through the large numbers is to have a strong work ethic. So here's what you need to know. You're either going to magnify your output or you're going to have to modify your dreams. And that's a choice to make. That's a choice to make. Once you've made the choice to magnify your output, you're going to have to keep track of your business. See, tracking is everything. People have been asking me since I've been on this fitness journey, how the heck did you do it? And all I told them is I tracked it. In the beginning, I had to track. And once I got used to it, I didn't have to track anymore because it became something that I remembered. Take note of this. There's what we call the unconscious incompetence. That's when you don't know that you don't know, right? That's like the blind leading the blind. You don't know that you don't know. Ignorance, right? And then there's the conscious incompetence. That's when you know. Conscious incompetence is when you know you don't know. And you're like, oh man, I don't know. There's something I'm not getting. And then there's what? Conscious competence. That means you know how to do it, but you got to keep track of it. See, that's the part that you got to start, because the next part after that is unconscious competence. And the only way you get to being able to do it without thinking about it is you first have to keep track of it. So what are the things that we want to do with this team? We want to have people that break records. People that break records keep records. So here are the key business metrics that you want to keep track of. And you've heard Mr. Thomas say a lot of these. You want to screenshot this. You want to keep track of your guests at your meetings. Keep track of how many apps to guest ratio. You want to keep track of how many open line business partners that's starting in your business every single week, every single month. You want to keep track of the customer to rep ratio. On average, how many customers are each of my distributors getting? You want to keep track of the qualification percentage. On average, what is your qualification ratio? Executive team leader promotions. That shows you how much your business is growing on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and on a daily basis. And then understand you're going to have to start spending time with the right people, people that deserve your time, not just people that beg for your time. And how does deserving your time look like? They're doing the things necessary to win. They're exposing people to the business. They're contacting you. They're asking you questions. How do you do this? They're working the business and they're looking for ways to do more. So you want to raise the expectations, set the bar high, and you lose the losers. If you set the bar low, you lose the winners. And here's a tip. This creates a culture. The culture you're creating depends on the lowest amount you will allow. Okay? So if your bar is high, then the lowest amount you allow is like nil. But if the bar is low, the lowest amount you allow is a lot. And that's how you ruin the culture in your business. So you want to set the bar high. Sum up the business. This is what we do. And that's why, I hear well, we get customers. No, listen. This is straight from the co-founders. This is what we do. Our business is new people bringing new people. Now I need you to ask something because it's simple. Does it say old people bringing new people? No. Does it old people bringing old people? I'm not talking about your age, so don't feel funny. I'm not talking about our age. Is it old people in the business bringing old people? No, it's new people bringing new people, whether that's new business partners, new customers. So ask yourself how you want to build ACN. You can either build it two ways, as a participant or a leader. Which one of those, straight from Tony Cooper's, which one of those you want to be? Now, don't feel bad. If I want to be a participant, there are RVPs and SVPs that are just participants. There are RVPs and SVPs that are leaders. So what's the difference? See, a participant is plugging into someone's system, and a participant is waiting on or leveraging a leader. A leader is doing these things. So if you want to be a leader, these are the things that a leader is doing. A leader does presentations. A leader answers the questions. A leader promotes the trainings. A leader trains and launches new IBOs. Build your business and sort for leaders. Every time you find a leader, your business is becoming a business that can build with or without you. And here are some success tips. If you're a leader or a participant, this is something that you want to keep in mind. You want to have high energy and enthusiasm. Look at Miss Natasha Ismail. Look at Mr. Al Thomas. You realize they're always enthusiastic. Enthusiasm, people say is the ism, I am sold myself. Okay, so you want to be have enthusiasm. Explain, don't sell. Explain, don't sell. We talked about this last night. People said, well, how do I get this person to join? You don't. People that want to join. How many of you realize that? And in this, Tony Cooper said he hates when he goes to a meeting and he sees somebody with and he did this with a sizzle close. You don't have to do all that. People are going to join when they want to join. It's all about timing. You can't say the wrong thing to the right people. No pressure. How many of you have ever been to a car dealership and you worked with a car dealer who pressured you and you just resented the whole experience? How many of you have worked with a salesperson who you contacted a few times, maybe to just get some information? They were helpful and you remembered them and you came back to them and did business with them. Which one feels better to you? The second one. So you want to be that person, no pressure. Answer to all the questions is training. And you want to keep prospects and IBOs on track. What does that mean? We have a business model, and you're going to meet someone that says, well, I know someone who runs all of the Kaiser Permanentes all over the country. And if we could just get in there and get them to agree to ID seal, we can have thousands of ID seal. Listen, guys, that is not our business model. Our business model is simple. New people bringing new people. So if someone's trying to get you off track or you're trying to get yourself off track, you got to make sure to stay in your lane. We share this business through relationship marketing, and that'll lead to people like that. When big people like that come into the business, it's because someone knew someone, they shared the opportunity, and that person decided that they wanted to take advantage of it. There's no special way to do it. Answer the questions, all the questions is training. And edify the source of your knowledge if you're new. See, I'm not new, but I still do that today. My source of my knowledge that I'm sharing with all of you today, you heard me say, is the co-founders of the company. These aren't my words. These are coming directly from the co-founders of ACN. And so you want to get great at edifying your source of knowledge. Don't make it about you. Don't make you the deal. Edify so people understand where you're coming from. And this is the part that I really excited about to share with all of you. There's a difference that super builders know that amateurs in the industry don't know. Are you guys excited to hear about this? Okay. There's a thing that I tweaked myself. I just apply what Mr. Tony Cooper did, and every single week, not only have my exposures been insane, but I'm signing up new people personally every single week. And when it comes to it, I'm old in the business. But I'm not a salesperson. I'm building something like Amazon. How many of you are more attracted to Jeff Bezos money than car salesman money? So you got to ask yourself, what kind of business are you building? Are you building a network or a platform? Or are you just a salesperson getting customers? See, what Tony said is this: amateurs invite to recruit, and professionals recruit to invite. What does that even mean? So amateurs say, hey, I want you to see something I'm really excited about. Are you open to making extra money? You are. Let me show you the business. That's called inviting to recruit. And a lot of us are thinking, oh my gosh, that's what I do. That's what I've been taught. Well, I'm going to share with you something that's going to excite you. Tony Cooper said, super builders recruit to invite. What does that even mean? Guys, what it means is he has people that are taking a look at the business, that are invites, invite other people to take a look at the business when they're taking a look at the business. I hope some of you didn't miss what I said. So his invitees are inviting people to that business. So you have 3 people. Now, all of a sudden, there's 20 people being exposed to the business because they keep it simple. Well, how the heck could you get someone that you're just inviting to invite as well? People, you will elicit the response. Write this down. You will elicit the response or behavior of the people you're inviting based on your conversation. We used to have an invite, and we talk about a project, and we still do, but we had an invite talking about a project. I had a new person say, what do you do when they say, what company is it? And I said, you're not following the system. Yes, I am. How do you know? I said, screenshot it to me. He wouldn't screenshot it to me. You know why? Because he wouldn't have elicited the response company when we didn't talk about a company. We said it was a project. So people aren't going to answer what's the company if it's a project. Does that make sense, you guys? So the same thing happens when inviting for ACM. So how do you get IBOs to invite? Number 1, is it simple? Number 2, does it work? And number 3, can I do it? All right. So I know for any of the urchins, it says, can I DO it? Yeah. Co-founders make mistakes too with words, but they're making billions. I would rather, like Mr. Thomas say, you guys already know where I'm going with this. So know this. Is it simple? Does it work? Can I do it? We've all heard that before. But here's extra that Mr. Tony Cooper's added to give context. It can't just be simple. It has to genuinely be simple, but also look simple. Some of us make a simple thing look extremely complicated. And it takes convincing to get a new person to do that simple thing. So number one is it's simple. It's right there on the slide. Do you guys see that if I froze? So oftentimes people make something simple look extremely complicated. And that's why you might have a hard time getting someone to do what you're doing. Okay. But have you ever noticed? Here's how you'll know. If they actually start doing what you're doing, it was simple. They say, oh my gosh, why didn't I start doing this so much longer ago? How many of you ever had that happen? That means that what you're doing is simple, but how you're explaining it is complicated. So here's what you got to do. It has to look simple as well as be simple. So what type of approach are you using that also not only is simple, but looks simple? There are two approaches that Mr. Cooper's talked about that look simple and are simple. And some of you have seen, at least I know they've seen the top one. So these words that work. And look, I'm not telling you to change anything that you do with your team. Everyone has a system, okay? But if you're looking for, even in your system, just look at where can I tweak it so what I do that is simple looks simple to a new person so they'll know that they can do it. So with this, it says, can you do me a favor? And can I get your opinion? And that's the approach that we use. See, if the business is all about getting as many people to look at it as possible, if it's about large numbers, here's what we've realized. If we ask someone, are you open to making extra money? They're going to say yes or what? No. That's the end of it. But if we say, hey, Joyce, listen, I'm working on a huge project. I would love to get your opinion on it. Could you do me a favor and give me your opinion on what I'm doing? Who got a light bulb moment right now? Okay, here's what I need you to know. People love to give their opinion, even when you don't ask for it. Why do you think Facebook has this thing called trolls? All trolls are people giving their opinion without anyone asking for it. How many times as a kid did your parents, growing up as a teenager, give you their opinion when you didn't ask? People love to give their opinion. So when you give them, empower them, and ask them, now I need to ask you an important question. You can answer this in the chat. Do we care what the opinion is? Yes or no? No, we don't care what the opinion is. We don't care. But we ask for it so that we can get feedback, because once they see the presentation, they're going to already lean towards wherever they lean. Here's what you need to understand. The people that you're approaching are already pre-wired to be either A, open for opportunities, B, negative towards opportunities, or C, question opportunities. They're already pre-wired that way. So selling or closing people is trying to rewire their pre-wiring. If you have 100 people in the room and you have no skill, listen to this, and you go up to 100 people in a room and you ask all of them for an opinion and say, watch this video. Can I get your opinion? Yes. Watch this video. Can I get your opinion? Yes. Watch this video. And you get all 100 to watch the presentation. Here's what you're going to find. At least 10 of them are going to want to do it without you having to be special. That's the law of large numbers. But they're going to want to do it not because of you. They're going to want to do it because of who? Because of them. Why am I sharing this with you? What if you had a super closer sales guy in the other room and he only had 10 people in his room and he closed let's say 2 of them wanted to do it, but 8 didn't, but he made them stay there until they did. Here's what'll happen. Now it looks the same. Both rooms have 10 people that want to do it. But in the room where the people were convinced, take note of this. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. 2 people wanted to do it and they were excited. 8 people didn't. 6 of the stronger minded people said, I'm out of here. I know I signed up, but I quit. It discouraged the other 4, and the 2 that wanted to do it now are unsure on whether or not they chose the right thing. Why am I sharing this with you? Because that's human nature. So the 10 people that you found through 100 will outproduce the 10 people that you convinced tenfold. So what does it tell you? Everything isn't always what it seems. It might seem great to have convinced 10, but the reality is it was better to go through the work of 100 without skill, because now those 10, you know what they know? They can do what you did and they will do it without you. So here's a goal that I want to give all of you. I want to challenge you, especially those of you that are in the contest with all of us. I want to challenge you to do 10 ACN presentations in one day. In one day. But I want you to take a look at it from a different perspective. Do it fast. Use the video. But also do this. Say, hey, despite, and I'll put this in the chat so all of you guys can have it. You guys are gonna, and you don't have to use it, but it's something that I use and it helps me tremendously. So here it is. And just say, hey, what's going on? And then send them the message. And when they say, sure, what you got? Because I promise you that's what they say. You say, here, take a look at the video and give me your honest opinion. Every person that sees it is a presentation. Every person that sees it is an exposure. And surprise, if you the person who exposes the most people makes the most what? Money. As a leader, I can either, Dean Turali said this, I can be eloquent or I can be someone that can be duplicated. Which one do you want? So, in closing, I want all of you to understand this. Everything in the outside ring that I brought up is not your responsibility, and you need to let it go. So what is not your responsibility? Other people's words, other people's mistakes, other people's beliefs, other people's actions or ideas, other people's fears. None of these things are your responsibility. We're all adults. You never see, imagine someone seeing your fitness journey and you say, I go to this gym and I use this personal trainer. And they sign up for the gym, they don't use a personal trainer, and they don't go to the gym. Are you going to be upset at yourself for introducing them to the gym? No, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But why is it in ACN we get upset and feel bad because they didn't win? That's their fault. We supply a track to run on as leaders. This is your responsibility. Your responsibility is your words, your behaviors, your actions, your efforts, your mistakes, your ideas, and the consequences of your own actions. So if the only thing you can control and the only thing that is responsibility is based on what you do, then why don't you go out there and be the example and be great? Start exposing more people, guys, because that's going to lead to more customers and more business partners. And so I wanted to end at 45 minutes so that way we can answer some questions or have a conversation. If any of you have any questions, I'm done. It's time to go to work, but I'm going to open it up for all of you so that you can go ahead and start to answer. So,
So before we do that,
um,
Mr. Lewis, I want everybody to know this was our LCC, our Leadership Certification Conference. So what happens is all of the newly promoted regional directors get to fly out to Charlotte and spend 3 days with the co-founders being personally mentored by them. And we got that via Zoom, obviously, because of what's going on. But he just shared a regional director conversation. So everyone that's going towards regional director, get there fast, because this is the kind of next level leadership that you get. This is what you get. Miss Sharian, I see you, girl. You better run. This is what we get. And he just, this was so good. And when Greg Provenzano and Tony Kupas are saying this, you're just so engulfed in their conversation, you don't even want to lose eye contact. And Greg Provenzano always says, you're responsible to them, but not for them. I'm going to say that again. You are responsible to the new IBO, not for the new IBO. You're responsible to create a winning environment, just like Mr. Lewis said, but not for what they do and for their actions. So if anybody has any questions, go for it. And then we're going to wrap up so everybody could get to work.
and I think Natasha, you said it so they can unmute themselves. So if anybody has questions, have at it.
And
Don't hesitate. Don't be spurred.
if you're not able to unmute, just click the little hand raise thing, or just raise your hand if you have your camera on, and I'll just unmute you because I can see everyone. Anyone has a question? No questions? What? It was that good. You just left everyone speechless, Mr. Lewis. Do you see this? Now look at this. Look at it. What? Guy, look at it. Miss Diane Collins going crazy. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Miss Sharian. I got you. Okay. Click unmute.
Mr. Lewis, sir, that was an amazing training. Thank you so much for giving us those nuggets tonight. Man, I tell you, I am just excited, so excited. And I would appreciate if you would say that what's your peak question that you had, and say that over again, because I'm ready.
Perfect. Well, it's in it. It's in the chat, so you can go. I put it in there to copy paste. I'll do it again because it's probably a little bit further up. Okay. Here it is. And so that's it. I say, hey, how you doing? Despite interesting times, working on something potentially huge. Trying to get as many sets of eyes on it as possible. Would love your opinion. Want to get as much feedback as possible. That's it. And people love to give opinions and feedback. And listen, some people are just going to give you that. They're going to say, wow, this is really great. I'm excited for you. Go. And that's it. And then you can say, well, listen, if you think of anybody that would like to see if they're being overcharged in their bills, or if you know anyone that wants to get paid every month, let me know. And because it's no pressure, people are going to remember you, or they'll say, you know what, that's me. I want to. And you're going to be able to do it without pressure. People are going to feel good. And then what we found happening is new people start sending it out right away because it was so simple. Okay.
Man, that's good stuff. Oh God.
That's what happens at regional director. That's what happens at regional director.
Yeah, you guys got to get there. Anybody else? All right. Well, in that case,
Going once, going twice. So nobody raised their hand. So I don't want any questions up in WhatsApp after this. Okay. If we get questions, we're not answering them. But this is recorded. And Mr. Lewis, I want to thank you for that training, because he just gave y'all the golden nuggets that we got from Mr. GP himself. So Mr. Lewis, any words in closing?
yes, I do want to tell you that I really did it. I watered it down. It was a RD conversation, but if you can get the essence of what I was sharing, that is what you're missing out on by not being a regional director yet. So I recommend running, get it done. You're equipped. You know now for a fact, it doesn't take skill. It only takes work. How many people are you willing to expose? And that's going to lead to your customers and business partners. And with that, Mrs. Natasha Ismail, I appreciate you being on here with me and all the energy you always bring. And I'm so excited to see the newest regional directors being promoted and ultimately promoting to regional vice president because of it. God bless everyone.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Can we all show him some love? Can we just give him a round of applause? He just gave everybody the golden nuggets. Everybody has the golden nuggets now, okay? You got chicken nuggets, golden nuggets, all kinds of nuggets. So now what you do with it is up to you. Because remember, responsible to them, not for them. So I wish everybody the best luck. We have like 14 days or something left in the contest. And yeah, just get to work. Like, this is so exciting. And especially after what we just learned, let's get to work. Miss Ito, I love your cat. Let's get to work. All right, guys, good night.